Hello everyone, welcome back to the Kpop Unveiled channel. Amidst the constant barrage of Kpop comebacks, few releases truly feel like major moments, beyond just routine industry updates. And this time, many fans' attention is focused on one name who holds a unique position, not just as an idol, but as a creator. That figure is Taeyong, the leader of NCT, who is now preparing to release his first full-length solo album, titled WYLD. This comeback isn't just about new music. It's about a new phase. It's about how an idol long known for his stage charisma now stands as an artist with much greater creative control. WYLD arrives at a pivotal moment. After a long journey that included a solo debut, musical exploration, and a hiatus for military service. All of that experience seems to have culminated in one project that now takes center stage. When it comes to Taeyong, it's difficult to separate his role as leader from his artistic identity. Within NCT's complex, expansive structure, he's not just a formal leader, but also the center of the group's performance energy and musical identity. Units like NCT 127 and NCT Dream have evolved in their own ways, but Taeyong remains one of the central pillars connecting the entire concept of NCT as a global project. At this point, as he ventures further into the solo path, expectations for him are no longer just high, but also specific. Many want to see how he defines himself outside the group's framework. Taeyong's solo journey actually began several years ago, when he released a project that showcased his experimental side. His music deviated from the typical K-pop formula. His unconventional song structures, free-flowing rap flows, and artistic visual approach demonstrated that he wasn't interested in being a safe solo artist. Instead, he was inclined to take risks, something that isn't always easy in an industry that is highly competitive and full of market expectations. Against this backdrop, WYLD emerged as a very logical and ambitious step. This wasn't a mini-album that merely served as a bridge between eras, but rather a full-length album, traditionally considered the most complete form of expression for an artist. In K-pop, a full-length album is often a benchmark for musical maturity. It provides more room for exploration, both in terms of genre, theme, and the narrative it conveys. WYLD is scheduled for release in mid-May 2026, and since its announcement, various teasers have begun to emerge. From the initial visuals shown, the conceptual direction is already clear. The dark tone, mysterious atmosphere, and visual elements that feel more abstract than previous releases signal that Taeyong isn't abandoning his experimental identity. Instead, he seems to be deepening it. The title WYLD itself, a variation of the word wild, conveys a sense of freedom and untamed energy, but with an artistic twist that sets it apart from its literal meaning. One of the most interesting aspects of this comeback is Taeyong's involvement in the creative process. He's known as an idol who actively writes lyrics and is involved in composition, and for WYLD, that role becomes even more dominant. When an artist has more control over their music, the end result usually feels more personal. Lyrics no longer simply follow a general theme, but become a direct reflection of the individual's experiences and perspectives. In this context, WYLD has the potential to be a very intimate album, even though it's wrapped in a concept that might sound harsh or edgy on the surface. The experience of military service cannot be ignored in interpreting the direction of this album. Many idols return from military service with significant changes, both mentally and artistically. Some become more reflective, others try new approaches to their music. Taeyong returned in late 2025 and didn't take long to return to active duty. The decision to immediately pursue a full-length album shows that he already had a clear vision. This wasn't a hastily arranged comeback, but rather something that had likely been in the works for a long time. Prior to the announcement of WYLD, Taeyong also released a collaboration with Anderson Paak on the song Rock Solid. This collaboration provided a glimpse into the global direction he was aiming for. Anderson Paak is known for his blend of hip-hop, R&B, and soul, and his presence on the project demonstrates that Taeyong isn't just playing within the domestic K-pop scene. He's beginning to build a bridge to the international market, something that's increasingly important in today's industry. Looking at his career progression, WYLD feels like a culmination point. From his solo debut to his various experiments, it all seems to be building toward a larger, more mature project. In many cases, a solo artist's first full-length album is often a defining moment. It can either solidify the artist's position or reveal their limitations. In Taeyong's case, many indicators point to WYLD having the potential to be a significant step forward. Musically, while the full details haven't been fully revealed, there are a few possible directions to consider. Taeyong is known for his tendency to blend genres, so it's highly likely this album won't be tied to a single style. Hip-hop will likely remain the foundation, but it will be infused with elements of R&B, electronica, and perhaps even bolder experimental sounds. This approach allows for a dynamic album, but also demands a balance to maintain cohesion as a whole. Performance-wise, there's little doubt that Taeyong's abilities are undeniable. He's one of the most charismatic performers of his generation. Every comeback carries high expectations for choreography and stage presence. In the context of WYLD, performance is crucial because the concept seems to be highly visual and atmospheric. It's not just about how the song sounds, but also how it's delivered on stage. Furthermore, WYLD's release, coinciding with NCT's decade-long celebration, adds another layer of significance. 10 years is a long time in the K-pop industry, and not every group is able to maintain relevance for that long. Taeyong, as leader, carries the symbolic weight of that journey. His solo comeback at this time can be seen as both a reflection of that long journey and a step toward the next phase. From an industry perspective, WYLD also reflects a growing trend: the growing role of idols as creators. While previously many idols relied on production teams, more and more are now taking control of their own music. This not only brings a new dimension to K-pop, but also changes the way the public views idols. They are no longer simply seen as performers, but as artists with a vision. Expectations for WYLD are naturally high. Fans expect solid production quality, meaningful lyrics, and a strong concept. But beyond that, there's also curiosity about how Taeyong will balance experimentation with accessibility. Music that's too experimental can be difficult for the general public to accept, but on the other hand, following trends too closely can also lose the identity that has been a strength. If this album manages to find the right balance, the impact could be enormous. Taeyong will not only solidify his position as a solo artist, but also has the potential to become a new standard in the idol producer category. He could become a benchmark for the next generation of idols on how to develop into artists with their own voices. Ultimately, WYLD isn't just about sales figures or chart performance, though those are still important in the industry context. More than that, this album is about narrative, about how an artist tells their story through music, about how experiences, pressures, and expectations translate into work. The approaching release date is only fueling curiosity. Every teaser, every piece of information, makes it clearer that this is no ordinary project. This is a major step in Taeyong's long journey. And when WYLD finally arrives, what will be judged will not only be the quality of the music, but also how well it represents who Taeyong truly is as an artist at this point in his career. If you've been following Taeyong's journey from the beginning, this comeback is definitely not to be missed. And if you're just starting to pay attention, WYLD might be the best entry point to understanding what sets him apart. So before we end this video, I want to ask you directly as a listener and K-pop fan, what are your hopes for this WYLD album? Do you want Taeyong to explore more experimental music? Or do you hope for easier listening songs that everyone can enjoy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, because it's really interesting to hear everyone's perspectives. And if you enjoy discussions like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Kpop Unveiled. See you in the next video. Rock it!